Ready? Chapter 26. The Truth Hurts. They were all on the move again. This time they were walking in a normal tempo. Ilsa seemed to be fully recovered already. However, the mood was still rather grim. Several of the officers were grieving the loss of Second Lieutenant Litva. Her sister, Colonel Reagan, had a blank stare on her face. She was holding her sister's cloak in her hands, a memory of the sister she loved. She hugged the fabric tightly. It still smelled like her. Litva had never used her mage powers. She didn't enjoy the kill at all. As a teenager, Reidun was forced to fight in the Wolf Army, but it wasn't until her sister was put on the battlefield as well that she decided it was time for them to leave. They fled to Ayla's Blood Army to escape the ruler. They thought they were safe. It had all been an illusion. Reidun felt the rage growing inside of her. She was going to kill them, every last one of those yellow wolves. We still have about an hour of sunlight before it goes completely dark. This place seems like a good enough spot to set up camp. What do you say, Atle? Joar turned to his fellow general. Atle nodded in agreement. With both a forest and a lake nearby, it was indeed a good spot. Keon stood and watched as the generals prepared a campfire. Aina was leaning on him. For once she was actually tired. Maybe it was all the impressions from the latest events that had left her feeble. Even her mind needed a break at times. Arvid hesitated. Should he ask Ilsa about Edda? However, he was sure he wouldn't get a response from her. She wasn't even in his army. He had to ask Edda about it. He didn't want to accuse her of something unfounded, but at the same time he was too suspicious to ignore. All the generals were seated around the campfire just as Edda got up to light it. Arvid stood up to face her. Edda, do you and Ilsa know each other? Why would you think that? Edda asked him. How else would Ilsa know it was you back at the prison? She couldn't see you, he retorted. Ilsa held her breath. She was happy he hadn't asked her. There was a reason she always kept her mouth shut when needed. She was a lousy liar. Edda, on the other hand, was not. She was a master at it. Edda stopped in her motion and met Arvid's eyes. Because we crossed paths before I came to Nila's Blood Army, she answered in her usual cold manner. Where did the both of you meet? He asked her. At the headquarters of Nila's Blood Army, she answered. Ilsa stared at the Major General in shock. Edda wasn't lying. She was telling the truth. Was she about to reveal everything? What do you mean, Ayla's Blood Army? Arvid could hardly believe what he was hearing. I came to Ayla when I was 7 years old. The year I turned 13, I started training as a cadet. The year I turned 16, I graduated. After that, Ayla approached me to infiltrate Nila's Blood Army in order to gain intelligence that would make it possible to end the feud between the Blood Armies. She said without hesitation. Her eyes didn't deviate from Arvid for a second. You! It was you! Arvid felt appalled by the woman standing in front of him. He looked over at Atle and Disa. They both looked stunned, their faces almost frozen with a blank stare. Arvid drew a deep breath before his eyes rested on Edda once again. She, of all people, he felt the fury ignite within him. More than 1,000 of us died because of you. For so many years I've followed your orders. I've always been loyal to you and defended you. I've always stood by your side through thick and thin. This whole time you've been against me. Did you pick and choose who got to live and die? Did you choose for him to die? Did you choose for Anand to die? Arvid was shaking with anger. It was her fault Anand died. It was her fault. Julvan stood up. She wasn't about to let Edda take the full hit for this. They had done this together. She had to speak up. It wasn't just Edda. It was me too. Ayla ordered us to infiltrate Nila's Blood Army because nothing else worked. She offered him a truce every damn year, and he turned it down without even as much as a negotiation. The cold shoulder every time. What was she supposed to do? I'm not ashamed of what I did, and I would do it all over again. I did it so that we could be one army, like we were all supposed to be from the start. So that we can finally stop fighting each other and join together as one against the ruler, our true enemy. We did what we were ordered to do, what we had to do. If it wasn't for Neela, the last battle wouldn't even have taken place. None of the battles during these last 17 years would have. If you want to blame someone, blame him. Arvid shifted his attention to Yulin. Her too? 2 of the remaining generals of the last battle of the mages weren't even Neela's generals. They were Ayla's. He looked back at Edda. He was more important to me than anyone else I have ever known. You knew that, and yet... Arvid was trying to hold back his tears. He missed Anund so much. He wanted to scream. It hurt so bad. He felt like he was ripping a hole inside his heart, breaking it for a second time. Edda looked at Arvid. They all mattered. They were all important to someone. They trusted me, and I betrayed them. I failed them all. I'm not proud of who I chose to become, what I chose to do. I never wanted any of them dead. The only one I've ever wanted dead is the ruler. I'm selfish. Everything I do is in order to get closer to him. I chop away more and more of my humanity each passing day, all for the goal of us standing together facing him. My desire for revenge is my only desire. Hate me if it makes you feel better. You have all the right to. I would hate me too if I were you. Silence spread across the camp, but inside one person it was anything but quiet. Aino felt like she was ripping apart. She had to get away from them all. She turned to Keon, who as always sat beside her, and whispered in his ear, "Please take me away from here." He looked at her with a worried expression and nodded. As he ran with her on his back towards the closest forest, he could only imagine what she was feeling. As soon as her feet touched the ground, she bent over forwards and vomited. "Fuck them! Fuck their wars! They used my blood just to hurt and kill each other." She hunched over and vomited again. With her fist clenched in anger, she started pounding the ground. "They took my gift. Neela and Ayla took my gift and distorted it, all in the name of greed. I hate what they have done," she screamed into the forest. Outside of the forest, Juha stood frozen. He had followed Aino and Keon when he noticed they were running off. He had heard her screams, her cries. He was trying to process it all. Their creator hated what their mages had become. He looked down at his own hands, all the lives they had taken. She hated what he had become. He lifted his head high and walked into the forest. As Juha stood in front of his creator, he was more determined than ever before. "Your blood saved my life. Every time I thought back to how my father repeatedly raped me as a child, how my mother closed her eyes to it, how my family threw me out when I killed my father for everything he had done. Every time I wanted to kill myself, I thought of my creator, the one whose blood had made me strong enough to never again let anyone use me, the one who made sure I would never again be a victim. It gave me strength, it gave me hope. Your blood saved my life, and my life must count for something, right?" Aino looked up at him. "Please don't do this, Juha. I'm not the person you imagine me to be." Juha stared at her. "You think I don't know you? That I can't feel the pain inside of you? That I can't feel the darkness you try so desperately to hide? As much as you try to hide yourself, I can see you." He walked over to her, took her hand and laid it on his chest. "Just as you can feel my heartbeat, I can feel yours. Trying to pretend like you don't care about me doesn't work anymore. I can tell when you're lying about your feelings, even when you're lying to yourself."